What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of the Blue Brand, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including we haven't seen the last of Brock Lesnar in WWE, WWE teases Roman Reigns' return, an update on AJ Lee's possible return to WWE, sad news for Dakota Kai stans, WWE parts way with a superstar, Tiffany Stratton delivers a Stinkface on Smackdown, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. And now, as always, we won't recap the matches, but just look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good, as number 1, a grueling gauntlet match. Or was there any doubt about the outcome of last night's gauntlet match? Unless this was your first week tuning into WWE, probably not, as fans knew that the Bloodline would emerge victorious, especially when they entered the match last. Nonetheless, the WWE made the Street Profits look great in defeat, it gave Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews a win, and it gave TV time to the OC, Legado del Fantasma, and Pretty Deadly. It also raised the question of whether Legado del Fantasma and Pretty Deadly are sinking to the same level as the OC, that of the talented teams that the WWE sees as better suited for putting other teams over. Number 2, good build up for SummerSlam. Now, SmackDown was hit and miss last night, but one thing it consistently did well was build fans' interest into SummerSlam, which is just a week away. Number 3, Solo Sikoa is slowly improving as Bloodline leader. Is Solo Sikoa the right choice to lead the new Bloodline? Early on, this was a valid question as Solo gave off a zero charisma, and his past year counting the lights had some fans questioning why anyone would want to follow him, especially when Jacob Fatu debuted and worked like a one-man wrecking crew. However, Sikoa has slowly improved and he does seem more comfortable in the role. The real test will occur when Roman returns and Solo has to interact with him, which could force the WWE to find a mouthpiece for Sikoa or even move someone else into the leadership role. Number 4, Andrade vs Carmelo Hayes is still happening. A good news for fans who've been digging the program between Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, as it looks like Hayes isn't finished with Andrade. Neither superstar has anything going on right now, and as we noted last week, this may be both men's best chance to grab the fans' attention. An A-Town Waller split continues. The build to the inevitable split between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller continued, with Waller all but taking boxer Terrence Crawford into knocking A-Town's lights out. An Austin vs Grayson rivalry will be good in the ring, and the only question is whether Austin can pull off working as a babyface. That was a good. What about the bad? Is number 1, terrible booking of Unholy Union. Raw and SmackDown are different like night and day when it comes to the booking of its female superstars. The Red Brand has several strong angles in the singles and tag division, while the Blue Brand continues to produce lifeless segments. It's unclear why the Unholy Union are tag champions, because the WWE has done nothing to make Isla Dawn and Alba Fire seem like worthy title holders. If anything, they're placeholders for whoever is getting the belts next, which is unfortunate as both women have shown they can do much more. Number 2, this definitely felt like a pre-taped show. The WWE has shown that pre-taped shows can deliver nearly as well as live ones, but last night didn't get the job done. There was nothing noteworthy other than the gauntlet match, which to be fair had a predictable finish, and the brief dust-up between LA Knight and Logan Paul. Now, there was nothing downright ugly, but kinda disappointing after the last few weeks of good shows. The WWE seemed to be failing into the same rut it had before, spending all its creative energies on the Bloodline storyline, which has been entertaining, but ignoring the rest of the show. One thing's for sure is that Raw is absolutely demolishing SmackDown on a weekly basis. But what did you guys think of the Blue Brand last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Now, top story looks at we haven't seen the last of Brock Lesnar in WWE. Now, top of today's news is another update on whether it's likely or even possible for Brock Lesnar to return to a WWE ring. Lesnar's name came up recently when Triple H was interviewed and asked whether the Beast is returning to the WWE. Triple H then said that the situation is up to Brock and that if he wants to return, he knows who to call. However, as we noted, Triple H's comments don't match up with previous reports that Lesnar won't be appearing as long as the Janelle Grant lawsuit against Vince McMahon, Laurinaitis, and the WWE is ongoing. However, on an episode of the Wrestling Observer Radio, it was mentioned that if Brock Lesnar calls WWE and says, "I want to come back for WrestleMania this year," it's up to the lawyers. They have advised us to keep our distance from Brock right now due to the ongoing legal issues. This situation could change and they might determine that enough time has passed for us to consider bringing him back. It's not as simple as deciding to bring Brock back, it's about the legal circumstances. If Brock returns, it's because the lawyers have given their approval, and if he doesn't, it's because they haven't. And another Brock news, Pro Wrestling Nexus is reporting, whilst there have been no creative pitches to bring him back immediately from people I've spoken to over the last month or so, they do believe that we haven't seen the last of Brock Lesnar yet. One talent who really wanted to do a match with Brock Lesnar for quite a while now is none other than Gunther. The WWE will no doubt have plenty of options for how to use Lesnar if he's able to return. Unless the WWE is taking great steps to fool the fans, it seems unlikely he'll be back soon due to the Janelle Grant lawsuit and the federal investigation into Vince McMahon. As mentioned, Lesnar wasn't named as a defendant or mentioned even the proceedings by name, but the mention of a former UFC champion in the allegations has made him almost persona non grata in the WWE. Next up, WWE teasing Roman's return. While Brock Lesnar's return is uncertain, Roman Reigns' return seems imminent, especially after the latest Smackdown where Solo Sikoa boasted of the Bloodline taking out Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Cody Rhodes before turning his attention to the Bloodline's former leader. Sikoa told Roman if he has a problem, he knows where to find him, another hint that Roman is making his much anticipated return at SummerSlam. Next up, an update on AJ Lee rumors. As CM Punk continues to earn acclaim for his WWE run, fans are also hoping to see a return by Punk's wife, AJ Lee. NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez claimed during an interview with Pro Wrestling Illustrated that Punk is talking to his wife about a potential comeback. However, that might not be 100% accurate, as Punk had this to say during an appearance at the San Diego Comic-Con. "I'm the wrong guy to ask those questions about. I know there's a lot out there of that, but I'm certainly not pushing her to do anything. I think she knows that there's options. I think she sees how happy I am and how things are different, but if the right situation presented itself, it would have to be a discussion between her and certain people. I don't necessarily want to be in the middle of that just because it could kinda get weird. Selfishly, yes, I would love to make out with my wife on television again." An AJ Lee return could be huge as she remains a fan favorite. One possible return could be at the Royal Rumble next year. Next up, WWE booking 2 championship matches for next week's SmackDown. There's big news concerning next week's SmackDown as the WWE announced 2 title matches for next week's Blue Brand. WrestleTalk reported the Bloodline vs DIY match will take place on next week's pre-SummerSlam edition of SmackDown, along with the Women's Tag Team Championship match where Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill will challenge Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. This announcement matches up with the WWE's unofficial policy of using SmackDown as a warm-up show for WWE PLEs, particularly since Triple H is reluctant to book many matches on PLEs. SummerSlam currently has 7 matches booked, and while one or both of these bouts could have aired on the pre-show, the WWE seems content running 2 hours of endless banter and hype videos on its pre-shows instead. Both matches have potential, particularly in terms of storyline, as fans are curious whether Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair will regain the belts or begin what may see as a storyline that sees Jade and Bianca feud. As for the Bloodline vs DIY, the big questions are whether a new Bloodline member will debut and whether someone such as Jimmy Uso will show up. Next up, Cody receives a special gift in Japan. A touching night in Japan as Cody Rhodes received a very special gift on the 26th July during the WWE's current tour of Japan. WWE.com tweeted a video of Cody receiving a ring robe and hat worn by his famous father during a match against Antonio Inoki. Cody showed his thanks to the fans and kissed the ring as a gesture of his gratitude and respect for the generosity shown to him. Next up, sad news for Dakota Kai stans. A current NXT superstar, Eddie Thorpe, recently revealed that he's in a relationship with Dakota Kai, posting pictures on Instagram of himself and Kai in an embrace along with a message, "34 looks promising." Congratulations to the couple on their new romance. Next up, WWE part ways with a superstar. Could Beth Phoenix end up in AEW? While it's unknown whether the Glamazon wants to join her husband Adam Copeland in AEW, PW Insider is reporting that Beth's WWE contract has now expired, which means she can work wherever she wants. Do you think she could end up in AEW in some capacity? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, Tiffany Stratton's Stinkface. And last but not least, is Tiffany Stratton adding the Stinkface to her repertoire? The current Miss Money in the Bank used the move Rikishi made famous when she teamed with Nia Jax to battle Bayley and Michin. Video surfaced on X of Stratton using the move when SmackDown went to commercial. Now, Stratton isn't the first female superstar to use the move. You may recall Rhea Ripley used it at a WWE live event. But there you have it, folks. Our look at SmackDown this week, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.